This is Two Snatches.
And a jerk.
Yeah. Still getting with the flow in it.
It is. It's finding that flow of everything. But to start everything off, how was your first coaching solo?
That's
good.
right.
Yeah.
Good. Yeah, it's fun. Still got things to learn, but nerves went out after the first 15 minutes and then started feeling comfortable. So, yeah, it's fun. It's a good time.
Tuesday, Phoebe was like, I think I'm going to go or something. And then I announced it to both of my classes. And she's like, don't do that. And I was like, why? Well, he's going to be nervous. I was like, not with 4:30 and 5:30. I love morning people too. And I was like, but when you get like people that like you see every day.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, I've been doing 4:30, 5:30 for, 4 years now?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I think what got me was just like the flow of class, like my nerves. And then if it was like a movement that I have never really done.
Oh, yeah. No, I understand that. Yeah. Let's do a banded sumo deadlift. Yeah, it's great.
Oh, that was
the
one you had to do.
First one. That was the first one that I did. So, yeah, it was good, though. It was good.
It did go well. Yeah, I was in that class.
Yeah.
That I hated coaching the banded sumo deadlifts because a lot of people hadn't even done it.
I've never done it.
Yeah, and we used to just use sumo deadlift high pulls all the time. I'd rather do a million burpees than
they feel like they work the.
Oh yeah, no, they definitely got you.
Yeah,
they hit what needed to be hit. So.
Right.
Yeah. But
yeah, it was exciting. I was like, I'm gonna go support. What time is it going? And then a few of us like made it a thing to try and go, like Phoebe did too.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It was fun.
There was.
It was a big class.
9 or 10 of you guys for both 4:30, and then another 9 for 5:30.
That's really good. Yeah, I think the support was good.
Should have pushed me a little bit more though, Andrew, because Rochelle beat me by 2 reps.
Well,
you should have pushed yourself.
I can only do so much.
There was a lot of people in class. There was a lot of people in class.
It's his first class. He can't.
I thought I had it.
It also doesn't help that you guys were on opposite sides.
That's true. That is true. That be true. Next time, coming for you, Rochelle.
His first class, and you're like, yeah, you should have pushed me more.
Should have pushed me more
because Rochelle was there.
Yeah. You know the competitor in me.
She did start after the first round. She's like, maybe I should go a little harder. I'm like, yeah. If you're not tired,
yeah, for sure. But that was fun.
Yeah, I'm glad. But we're going into the
tactical games.
Tactical games.
You gotta call it tactile.
Yeah, and then you're gonna yell at me because
I was all excited. I was like,
you get to feel things.
Yeah. No. I mean, technically you can if you want to, but feel some guns, see what that would be like.
Then nothing happens, right?
Touching and shooting. Okay.
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah, but I find this like very fascinating for tactical games. I don't think it's something that I'd ever do, but when you and Maggie brought it up to me, I was just like, that's really cool. And then I know Joyce kind of liked it, but what is like overall the tactical games?
What are they?
She's going to mess it up all day.
Yeah.
You got this.
So, I have to think.
Right. Basically, just from what I've been looking at, it started back in 2018. Okay. The brain of it was Tim Burke. I guess he was a career special forces soldier. Started out with kind of a 2-gun type thing, which is basically you go around and you switch from rifle to pistol and you go through a competition going that way. Not so much focused on workouts as well. Nick Thayer is now the head of tactical games, and he kind of changed it to where he would like to introduce firearms in a way that it's safe, but also gets people into a sport where it becomes familiar with them to be able to use both your physicality and firearms to kind of get everyday people involved and maybe loosen a little bit of the negativity surrounding firearms.
Yeah, because what comes to mind is to make it more fun, but when you put fun with guns, people are like, that's
safety. Yeah, it's a factor.
Correct. And I know I looked up their mission statement. The last one that I saw was they're looking to push the boundaries of accurately engaging targets and physical endurance. Their community is built on the foundation of adaptability and endurance, challenging individuals to become the best versions of themselves through intense and challenging competitions. So that was kind of one of their mission statements that I looked up recently. But overall, I mean, their community is based on basically being prepared for anything and everything that could happen.
Right.
That's really cool.
How did it feel safety-wise in terms of because I think that's a question, I guess, that does come up. Like now that you're talking about handling guns in an event with a lot of people and like, like how did that feel being there in terms of safety?
Yeah, so they have a full staff of basic kind of refs, I guess you could say, to make sure that standards are upheld. As well as if you're not following any certain safety guidelines, they will actually kick you out. You won't be allowed to continue.
Yeah.
It's very well organized to where you're never really coming across any type of crossfire or anything that could happen. If it is going to be a running event or a lifting event, they have you leave your firearms at a certain line. You're not actually doing the movement with the firearms, depending on what it is. So I've never seen any type of safety issue that's been there. And if there is, the refs have been right there and they tell you what's going on. So
yeah, that's pretty cool. How did you end up finding tactical games?
So back in, 2021, 2022, Bobby Remillard was in the gym talking about it, and he was more into it before I was. He was talking with David, and David mentioned it to me, so then I hit him up, and it was kind of one of those things where it was up in Phoenix, and we didn't really know what it was, but it was like, hey, we're both decent. He's better than me. He was decent at shooting and fitness. I was just kind of average. And it was like, well, let's go check it out. We'll try it out, see what's going on. So we went to the Phoenix one. That was back, like I said, 2022. And I think we ended up coming in third place in the team division. I think there were 14 different teams.
Well, that's really good.
And then we kind of got hooked from there.
Yeah.
So we went again in 2023. We got second place in the same division and did a lot better. So
that's super cool.
Yeah, like I would have never. I guess there's always what do they say? Something for everybody out there. But I would never thought that. Ever.
It's a cool combo of, like you said, a little bit of CrossFit and a little bit of just a completely different sport. So how was it like training up or becoming a part of that? Like how did you guys train leading up to that or prepare for it?
As far as workout wise, I mean, we just did basic CrossFit. We were both in the gym. I think he was coming every day, even once or twice a day sometimes. And then I was coming probably 4 times a week, 4 to 5 times a week. So basic CrossFit stuff, nothing too special. Moving items, moving heavy items, running, that's kind of your specifics. And then as far as shooting goes, that took a lot of time and effort trying to, because most people just go out and put a target up and then you shoot at it from 20 yards. You're not really doing that with the tactical games. What you're doing is you're working out, you're getting into a high heart rate, and then you're shooting. So it's a little different. We would do drills where we would move sandbags, like we would do sandbags to shoulders and then down like 15 of them and then 30 burpees and then go shoot.
Oh, man.
So it's kind of a lot, but what it does is it raises your heart rate. And then when you have to steady yourself in order to shoot. We did multiple shooting drills, transition drills, just a lot of work. But after you kind of get the basics, it gets pretty easy.
That sounds hard.
Yeah, it sounds really hard. I think the last one that you guys did, I remember when you guys had to do like the bike without the seat.
Correct.
And
the bike without the seat.
And it was with the, like, it had to be up to a 10.
It was a
C2 bike,
it
not
was the
the
Concept 2.
Yeah.
And you had to take the seat off so you're standing, and then they had it at a 10. It's 60 seconds.
Oh my goodness.
Your partner shoots, and then you sit there for 60 seconds to ride your bike. Your total score is going to be how good you shot at 100 yards, I believe it was, and then combined with your total calories that you accumulated.
My heart is racing just thinking about it.
Yeah, when I watched them, I was like, oh, that doesn't seem too bad. And then it was like, oh, no, they have to take the seat away. And I was like, oh, okay. And then he's like, oh, no. And then it has to be up to 10. I was like, oh, no, this keeps getting worse.
Oh, man.
Like at first I was like, C2 bike is nice compared to the assault bike.
Oh, yeah.
And
Jeez.
yeah, I was just like, no, that doesn't sound
pleasant.
It sounds fun to watch.
Yeah, it does.
Pain. going 60 seconds on that bike on a 10, it's just nonstop pain. Yeah. We ended up taking second in that event though, so we did rather good on that.
So how many events are there for the tactical games, and what did the workouts kind of look like?
So
little sample.
It kind of changes. Each event is different. Our last one that we did up towards the Vegas area, we were supposed to have 9 events, I think, but 2 of them ended up getting canceled because of weather. So they kind of shortened it up. So we ended up having 7, and they look very different. So they try to get it to where you're doing a little bit of everything. So one is it's a mile and a half ruck run. So you're running that mile and a half with everything on. That's your armor carriers, your guns, everything. Before that, it's kind of a 2-parter. Before that, you're doing a shooting aggregate where you're going to certain areas and you're either using your rifle or your pistol, and then you shoot your targets. And then after you finish that, you do your run. And then everything after that, your total time plus your shooting ends up being your score for that event.
Oh, wow.
That was one of them. The other ones, we had one where we had to climb a wall. So basically you jump over the wall, go do a certain movement with a sandbag, and then shoot. Then bring the sandbag back, jump back over the wall, grab your magazines, go back to the firing line, shoot again. I think that was 6 times you had to jump over that wall.
Oh.
So it was good. Yeah, it was that was a fun one.
Going back to because you said pistol and rifle, do you have to have a certain type? What are the...
So as far as firearms go, you do have to have a pistol and a rifle. The rifle needs to be a 5.56 or 2.23 or larger, and the pistol needs to be a 9mm or larger.
Oh, okay.
So you kind of have options. Most people go in with, I've seen anywhere from your standard Glock 19 that you use for a service pistol, and also going in with a staccato, which is $3,500 for just a pistol.
They're so pretty though.
They are so pretty, and that's definitely, if money was not an object, I would definitely buy one of those. I personally have a Canic. It's kind of their budget competition shooter. I love it. It works very well. As far as the AR goes, any old AR is fine.
Okay.
The more customization you do, the better it's going to feel.
Yeah.
But it's personal choice.
Gotcha.
How long, on a different note, how long have you been shooting? What?
I've probably been shooting 7 or 8 years.
Because I know you go hunting. You also do bow.
Correct. I started shooting before I went hunting. My family has a whole bunch of law enforcement in my family. So shooting was kind of a part of our thing. Once I was 18, we were still shooting as a family. About 21, I started getting my own rifles and my own handguns, and really shooting from there. So didn't really take it serious and really train about any type of tactical shooting until I was probably 26, which was 7 years ago or something like that.
Okay. So. But obviously, because your family was in law enforcement, there's a big safety with firearms and things like that. You're not. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, every house that we have a safe. We have either the guns are going to be unloaded or loaded, depending on where they're at. But they're not going to be reachable by any kids, and you have to have access in order to even get to it. So, safety precautions, of course. I mean, your instant ones is never point at someone.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's just safety precautions that you have to do, that you have to know, but most of the time it's common sense. So
yeah, I mean, a lot of people don't have that, but I think growing up and having that responsibility, because we have guns in our house, and having that responsibility of hey, we have a safe, we have this, and a lot of people just ride that with either no guns or lots of guns, and I'm there's a happy medium, and I ride that happy medium very well.
Yeah, I mean, and it's another thing of, if you have kids, they need to know what they are. I mean, my kids are 6 and 3, and they know for a fact that safe is not to be touched, and they know what's inside of it, how it looks, and that you cannot touch those things. So eventually they'll get into it, but not something like that.
Yeah, I think, but with you being open, we are with our kids, it's very no, this is not for you. It's just, to me, sometimes drinking or not together.
I was like drinking and driving.
Or / driving, the responsibility with those things and being very open with your kids or being open with other people. Because I don't want them to think like, oh, they're doing the tactical games.
I was like,
and it's like condoning all of this unsafetyness. And it's like, no, there's safety, there's responsibility, there's things like that. And we all have hobbies.
Yep.
You know, and this hobby is, I mean, it sounds super fun, but I would suck at it.
Mind you, I think you need a concealed carry right? Or do you need something to participate? Or you could just...
So
I think it's always
you have
good
to be
do
able,
that.
You have to be able to buy a weapon. So you have to be able to pass a background check.
Right.
If you can't buy a weapon, then obviously you can't do the tactical games. So
Right.
there's some reason why you shouldn't be doing it. Concealed carries are always better anyways, depending on what state you're in and what you're doing personal-wise. I like it. It keeps everything easy. I know I have everything backed up, and I don't have to worry about it. So,
Nice.
But at the same time, if you don't, it's not a big deal. Arizona is a free carry state, so you don't have to have a concealed carry. Even if you needed one, you don't have to.
With that, because everything is different state to state,
Right.
Are these carried out in different states?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, actually, I made a list. Let's see if I can pull it up real quick of all the states and the events that are going on right now.
We'll just sit here.
Yeah. That's fine.
Sip our
Drink
tea.
some tea.
I had it all nice and organized, but we didn't follow my lines.
I know.
I know Blake always goes rogue, and we're like,
It's okay. So, the closest one right now is February. That's down in Sierra Vista. That's here in Arizona. They then have one up in Florida, then Nevada, South Carolina, Texas, Idaho, Iowa, New Hampshire, or I don't know where that one is. Ohio. They actually have one in Poland, which I thought was kind of crazy.
What?
And then the last one in Phoenix. That's back in October.
Okay.
So they have a bunch of them all over the place, and it's getting bigger as it goes.
wow.
Yeah, that seems pretty cool.
It is pretty cool.
Yeah. And they change, is it kind of like CrossFit where they change like the workouts with each year? Like they like add things, take away?
They do. So I know for us, the changes that they did, the workouts are always going to be different. You're always going to have something different. There's always a run. So, I mean, you got to have cardio in order to do this. But for us, they changed the targets up. And then they change your stands or how you shoot differently. So they make different standards of how you have to do each event. So it was very different between the two in 2022 and 2023. I would say there was a lot of pulling in 22, but in 2023 there was a lot of like how heavy can you lift this? Like how fast can you lift this heavy component? So it was good.
Yeah, because I like that compared to like I guess old competitions where it's like, okay, well, I had this and next year I'll do better at this event. I like when they switch it up because then that gives everybody an opportunity to work on something.
True.
And how far in advance do you know like some of the workouts or know what they are?
Us, I think we had about a month and a half to know the actual workouts. I mean, you sign up. I think we signed up 6 months before it actually came out.
Okay.
So, and then about a month and a half, they'll send out all the stages and the events with the complete details of what you're going to need, how much ammo, all your fun stuff that you're going to be required to have. So it gave, I think Bobby and I, we practiced probably 3 or 4 of the workouts, but as far as workouts go, we were pretty confident in our ability to be able to move the items and the movements. We worked more on shooting and making sure we were accurate at a high heart rate rather than the movements. So kind of just depends on what you're good at. If you're good at shooting, you need to work on your fitness. If you're good at fitness, you need to work on your shooting. So.
Yeah. Is there like much partner communication? Like sometimes when we do CrossFit competitions and we have partners, there's usually like you go, I go, or you have to like tell somebody like where you can break it up however you want. Is there like that communication that
There's a little bit of both. With Bobby and I, of course, he was a lot stronger than I was at the time. He probably still is. Actually, I know he is. But anyways,
it's on.
He definitely would take some of the heavier stuff because he had the ability of moving it a lot quicker than I did. But yeah, there's definitely a lot of teamwork. You choose who does which section, basically. Okay. So you're picking who specializes in certain things. I know the last one that we did we had some rope climbs that we had to do, and I was much faster at rope climbing, but he was much faster at pulling the items. So he did a lot of the heavier item pulls, and I did the rope climbs, and it worked out pretty good. I think we came in second on that one too, second or third.
That's cool.
But yeah, I mean, your communication's going the entire time. Who gets to shoot what? Who gets to choose if they want to shoot the rifle? Who gets to choose the pistol? You're talking and communicating the entire time. It's more than I would think a CrossFit team workout would be.
Okay.
But kind of around the same. In a CrossFit team workout, you're doing the entire thing together.
Yeah.
This one kind of splits you up slightly. You're still working out at the same time, but you're doing two different items.
Things. Yeah.
That must be interesting too, navigating like the courses and the judging and the standards and kind of all of that. Do they kind of give you guys kind of like in the open, like a little recap of what you guys are going to do before you jump in?
They basically give you the standards that we're going to go around. They show you before each event, they'll have you go and do a staging round where they'll have the trainers or the refs come in and actually show you what you're going to be doing completely through the motions, show you the safety precautions, what you need to do, how you're scored, and then go through that. So yeah, they do a good job on explaining what you're going to do. The rules are very simple to follow, and then when you do the in-person examples, yeah, you can't mistake what to do.
Nice.
Is it kind with the movements with the refs, is there like stuff like that they'll be like, no, that wasn't the right movement, do it again,
like
even
no
like
reps?
Like no reps? Because I was like, you can't really do that with like
your aim
the targets,
or shooting,
because it's you either hit the target or not, so you get those points.
Correct. So in the team area and the other ones, they don't have enough of the volunteers to be able to judge every single division.
Okay.
So what they end up doing is you're scheduled in rounds. After you complete your round of your workout and kind of your match, you then take all your stuff off and you go judge the next match right behind you. So you're kind of judging how they do things, just making sure that they follow the correct rules. The only time you're really going to do like a no rep, I do air quotes on that, is when somebody does something completely wrong or they forget a motion, then you can give them a fault. And usually a fault gives them like a 10 or 15 second penalty or something like that. And it depends on what you have. So you have to keep track of that as you judge them. But I would say in the 15 events that we did, both Bobby and I think we only faulted one person. So,
Okay.
So it's pretty hard to get a no rep per se.
Yeah.
You have to be doing something pretty bad in order to get one of those.
Yeah, because I didn't know if like rope climbs, like what if it was you had to touch or come all the way down. Like there's different rules for that. But yeah, in the instance of like calories on a bike, that's pretty much explanatory.
Yeah, a lot of them were like that. I mean, the rope climb was probably the most basic one, and then up and over the wall. For the rope climb, you had to climb all the way to the top, touch the bar on the top, and then your second person just has to go to a tape mark and touch the tape mark.
Okay.
If you can't do, scaling's a little different on there too. They do have scaling options. If you can't do a movement, they introduce burpees and some other movements to basically keep you in it if you can't do the rope climbs. Because, I mean, some people can't.
Yeah.
That's definitely a skill-based movement. If you don't have it, then it's very difficult.
Like with the participants that are there, do you see like more active people? Yeah.
Or CrossFitters mostly, or military, or
I would say probably 80% of the people that go there are CrossFit people.
Yeah.
We had several people from Vegas CrossFit that we ended up talking with, and I think I've actually been to their CrossFit gym afterwards.
Cool.
Yeah, I mean it's basically just it's a smaller CrossFit community, but it is growing. So
Okay.
it's cool.
Yeah, because it's like sort of like the high rocks.
High rocks.
I can't talk with anything.
Just a little more expensive.
But I think also the tactical games like hold you to a different standard, because I've seen some videos with high rocks where I'm like, okay, that was not a wall ball.
Yeah, I mean, I think with the tactical games, it's a little easier to hold it to a standard.
Yeah.
Like I said, lift this, push this, move this, and then you're done. They're not doing like, oh yeah, you have to do 50 squats in 2 minutes.
Right.
Make sure you hit your depth. Make sure you're going all the way
Yeah.
back up. We're not doing standards like that.
Okay.
It's more like get it done.
It's more like a fast pace. Like, let's pump your heart rate up, make you feel it, make it hurt, and then go shoot. So.
And then what's the breakup like? Do you do like 2 workouts or 3 workouts in a day, or because I know it's the weekend, right? So
Yeah. So I think when we did Vegas, I think it was a 2-day competition. It was scheduled to have 9 events. A couple of them are kind of coinciding, but I think we did 3 events on the first day, and then it was scheduled to be 4 events, but they canceled one, and then it was scheduled to be 5 events on the second. But they ended up canceling one on that, so it ended up being 3 and 4.
gotcha.
As far as rest wise goes, it's not too bad. You usually have probably about 2 to 3 hours in between your events, depending on what they are. There was a shooting aggregate, which is basically you just go anytime during the day, you can go and do the event. So whenever you're rested, you go and do that event. On the other day, there's like a physical aggregate. So I think the last one we had to do, it was I think they loaded it up with like 150 pounds on a sled. And then you have to run all the way, I think it was 100, maybe it was 50 yards around and back. And basically whoever made it the farthest was going to win that aggregate.
Oh, okay.
So kind of just little things. Those are in there. They're events, but they don't actually count for any time stuff. You're just doing them throughout the day.
What is that called in a competition? There's a name for it, right? In
There
CrossFit
is.
usually.
It's not coming.
It's
to
leaving me. Yeah.
Yeah, because Festivus does that.
Is it a filler?
It is. Yeah, I think it
Filler
is.
workout?
It's a filler workout,
Yeah.
and Festivus does
They
that a
do.
lot to where you have to get it done by the end of the day.
Right.
But it doesn't matter when you do it.
Right.
I mean, depends on what, if you play it
Strategically.
yeah, and be like, okay, well, if there was one where we had to do as many
presses, right? Bench press.
bench presses, but there was one that I did with Deshane Carroll, and it was a heavy back squat, and it was as many as you can do with all 3. And it was very like, okay, well, we have a very heavy box jumps and squats. We should probably not do that before or after. And so I was like, let's do that in the beginning.
Smart.
So yeah, is it kind of like that where you can be like strategic about it?
I mean, basically what we did, especially for the physical one, we finished a workout down to a couple like hydration packs, and we're like, okay, we're nice and warm. Let's go knock this out because we're feeling it already. Let's go knock it out. And we did pretty good on that one. I think Bobby took first, and then I was like 3rd or 4th.
Okay.
Nice.
So it wasn't terrible.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And then what are the divisions? Because I know you and Maggie wanted to do it, and then I only thought it was like either male and male, female and female. What are the divisions like?
So there's a couple different things on divisions. Your basic tactical games, you're going to have your male and female RX division, which is called their elite. So that's your basically top of the top athletes that both can shoot really well as do your high skilled athletics with high strength. So that's your elites. Underneath that, you have your tactical, which is kind of more like a military sim type stuff. You're still going to be doing heavy weights and accurate shooting, but it's not going to be to the kind of top of the top type division. Then you have intermediate, which is below that. That's kind of their scaled.
Okay.
If you put it in CrossFit terms, that would be your scaled division. Lighter weights, lighter movements, kind of have a little bit easier of a time. And then you have your team division. Your team division can be both male, female, or female, female. Depends on what you're doing. Some events have strictly male, and female, female.
Okay.
It just depends on where you're at. The ones that we were doing was open. You could do whichever way you wanted. The difference on the team side is basically you have 2 different weights and 2 different calibers of what you're doing. So I think on one side, I think Bobby would take like a 125-pound sandbag, and then I'd have a 95-pound sandbag.
Okay.
So they split it up so that you have different strengths and different things. So Other than that, they do have a master's 40 plus and 50 plus as well.
Mm.
So, and surprisingly, there is a lot of people that do that, and they love it.
Oh, so, yeah, because cool. I mean, you got to get out there and do things, and as you get older, sometimes you don't move, or people are like, "Oh, why are you here?" I guess I don't know.
These guys can probably outshoot me and outmove me as well.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't be surprised.
That's really cool. And then you said for the teams, is there a division between like kind of like the RX equivalent and a skilled equivalent, or is just everyone goes with everyone?
So teams is just teams. Yeah. Mm-hmm. When they do a specific team event, like I think they do one down in South Carolina, they have a specific team event, and that's where they do the RX and scaled or elite and intermediate.
No, otherwise, that's why you were saying they would do burpees or something if they couldn't do the movement.
Yep.
Ah, interesting.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. What made you want to do it, Joycey?
Well, I knew that, like Andrew said, I was okay at CrossFit, so I was like, so I had that down. And then the shooting part, I've just always wanted to just improve in that in general. Yeah. And I guess in the very beginning, when it came to guns and moving to Arizona, I was very fearful of guns, and I was just very anti-gun. And then coming here, I just kind of learned a little bit more, took some classes, and started just educating myself a little bit more about them. And I was like, you know what? I want to be able to handle one, know about one. Hopefully I never am in a position where I will have to use one. But, knowing how to would not hurt me, and I'm like having that on my belt, I figured is only a bonus. So I really want to just dedicate myself to learning more about it. So I'm thinking maybe take some classes or just go to the shooting range, things like that. Mm-hmm. But yeah, and then I had invited Chelsea, and I was like, let's do it. I would like to do something like a team instead of an individual, because I don't think I'm ready for that yet. But it's still on the goals list. I don't know when, but I would love to try it one day, and I don't know, see how it goes.
Yeah, because what is like money wise? What is registration? What is like the investment?
Registration is what gets you there. So I want to say registration for us, it's $220 per person per team. So it's like 500-ish for a team. If you're doing it solo, I believe it was 400. I'd have to look at the prices again. I forgot to do that. And then you're talking ammo to go out and go to the competition, plus your stays wherever you're staying. So I think for me, you're supposed to have 1,000 rounds of both your AR and your handgun, which, I mean, that's anywhere from $300 for your handgun ammo, probably more now, to somewhere around $1,000 for your your AR. So it just depends on what type of ammo you're getting. So it's not a cheap event to go to, but if you're doing it once a year, I mean, it's definitely worth it. It's a lot of fun, and you don't end up using that much ammo. That's just a recommendation of what you need.
Just in case.
Yep.
You don't want to be the one who's like, oh, I ended up not bringing that. And they're like, oh, well, surprise.
Yeah.
But on that note,
here's a $40 box of 9mm.
Yeah, for real, because you're right. And on that note, like talking about firearms, like, because you mentioned you need to take 2 on average, like for people who don't really know, like what is the cost for just getting those 2 firearms that you need for the comp? So if you were to go affordable-ish. So
again, it kind of depends on what you're looking at. If you were going to go affordable, I mean, you could get a Glock that you could probably use with a holster, probably somewhere around $600 to $700. Maybe a little bit less nowadays. I haven't looked at them recently. I know I bought my Canic, which is the one that I use. I bought that for $780, I think. Which came with the holster that I currently use. And then as far as an AR goes, those are all over the place. They're up and down the map as far as price-wise goes. I want to say I got mine for $400, but I got it on a really nice deal. Most of them probably go for around $700.
Nice. So. That's what I need.
Then you're talking your scope that you're going to need to get.
Yeah, I was like...
that's going to be another probably $300. If you want to put a red dot on your handgun, if it's capable, that's another $150 to $200, $300. So
price is for it, yeah.
It gets up there, but when you really start to think about it, I mean, I use this every day. I mean, I'm throwing... If I need to take it somewhere, I have it. If I need to go use it ever, hopefully we don't. I know how to use it. I know it's going to operate. I know it's going to work every time I use it. So.
Yeah, it's like, okay, for the first event you invested all this stuff, but then everything that you added, like a holster and the scope and everything, is things that you can use, so you can subtract that.
Yep.
True.
So
I'm buying a little at a time. So I already have my holster and my belt. So I'm doing little by little. Little by little.
Yeah. The only other thing you do need is you're going to have to have a rig or a plate carrier, basically, so that you can have a weighted vest in there. That's going to be a requirement. And then your tactical belt as well. So plate carriers, kind of depends on what you want. Mine were somewhere around $200 a piece. But they actually come with the steel armor rather than an actual like weighted plate.
Yeah,
so
that's nice.
It just depends on what you want to do.
Decisions.
Yeah. There's
Sign me out of that then, because I was
not doing that.
I already suck at shooting, and now we have tons of
Maybe
money.
you could just come to practice with me and watch me do it.
Yeah, I said, it sounds fun to watch.
And go on there and try a few, you know.
Practice and shooting is probably more fun than the actual events sometimes. But when you get there and you start actually going and you're competitive, it kicks in and you get real excited. And plus, for us, the community, I mean, Bobby and I went up there with just us, and we were welcomed in just like your typical CrossFit community. I mean, everybody's like-minded there. They get along. Everybody's there to be healthy, do this, be competitive, and everybody just gets along with everybody. It's super cool. Another super cool community that just... it's cool to be a part of.
Yeah, which sounds really, really nice.
You're like, I'll go cheer you guys on.
Yeah, I'm not doing it. Like, there's no, like, nobody wants me on a team, and I don't want to fool myself.
That's
I'm
fair.
doing this solo. And plus, that is, I'd rather go on a cruise. I'd rather go
with that good money.
Just to be honest.
That's fair. That is fair.
The options, yeah.
But I also like invest in shoes for CrossFit.
You could always
invest
have
in clothes.
a homie who could help you out and let you borrow something, you know, like
there is that.
There is that
what
too.
homie's
You just
that?
pay for ammo though.
Yeah, that's true. Just pay for ammo. Someone who's very nice who might have one.
I was like, I have a Glock, but AR.
But for the AR, yeah.
I was like, we have an AR, but it does not my wingspan or whatever. It just
I was like, can I borrow it? Not just
you have longer arms than me.
No, I mean, just for the competition. That way I save myself some
I was like,
cash.
you sure can. We have that. We have a shot. We have all kinds of stuff. Yeah.
No, for
It's
real.
just I can't.
Right?
Blake has a lot of stuff. That's what she's trying to say.
We're raiding your house. Not just
I was like, I have some ammo too. I have some, but you'd have to ask Chris about his because he's the one who owns.
Yeah, some
AR.
diamonds and some rubies too.
No, I wish. I really wish. This is the combo
Magic
for our
carpet.
safe also.
Yeah.
And my social.
No, I love going to new types of events and just be like, that's really cool. And knowing when I'm just going to cheer somebody on.
Yeah. Do you plan on doing it again?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if it'll be this coming year or 2027, but yeah, I'll definitely be back out there. I'll dip my toes into...
what's happening in 2026?
I don't know.
Oh, okay, because you said 2027.
Yeah.
I was like, are you saving up for
He
something
wants to
in
perfect his
2026?
disc golf skills, you know?
Yeah, he's like, there's a big, huge
There's
thing
other
happening.
things going on in life, man.
That has taken over quite a bit. But no, I just don't have any plans for it right now. When I do, I'll probably dip my toes either into the team competition with Maggie or we'll dip into the solo and see how that goes.
Yeah, because you got to pull Maggie away from weightlifting.
Correct, and I don't know if that's going to happen anytime soon, which is totally fine.
Yeah.
So if it doesn't, then we'll see what happens. I don't know. I'd like to go back. It was definitely a lot of fun, and I learned a lot, and I feel like I'm more prepared just for basically anything and everything that could happen. So,
yeah. On that note, what do you think would be helpful for someone, I guess, like me or someone who's interested in participating at the, what do you say?
Tactile games.
Tactical
where you get
games.
to touch everything.
In terms of preparing for it, I guess, or getting...
Yeah. So the Tactical Games does have a website.
Sorry. Tactile. Because he said it. Because I was like...
Tactical.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the Tactical Games does have a website. It's tacticalgames.com. They do have a lot of information on their standards. They even have a how to get started. So they have some YouTube videos with equipment that you're going to need that kind of outlines everything that you might need, as well as I know there's a couple different athletes and trainers that go there, like Jacob Hepner. If you're in the CrossFit space, you know of him. He also does programming for the Tactical Games, specifically for that. So if you really want to take a deep dive in there, I know his stuff's been really highly regarded. So
Oh, that's pretty
cool. Yeah. I like that.
And then what was your favorite part of the tactical games and your least favorite?
It's like nothing.
I got a lot better at shooting just from training with Bobby. So I would say the training aspect and really doing it as a group of him and I were doing it a lot, but just training in general for that specific sport was probably my favorite part. Going up there and doing the competition was also cool. Favorite event would definitely be the last shooting aggregate that we did. It was shooting multiple targets in sync with your partner. So we were shooting up to, I think our farthest one was like 200 yards out and then kind of back and forth. So we each had to hit the target at the same, around the same
really
area.
Cool.
It was really fun. I know I have a video of that one. That was a really cool event. Least favorite, it's always running. The ruck run, the 1.5 miles of running. Yeah, it's terrible. That sucks.
That sounds rough. That sounds really rough. See, Blake, that could be us.
Yeah, no.
Not bad.
Maybe at the shooting range, we'll just record us looking cool like that.
Yeah, I don't. Like, yeah, I look cool this way, and then you go check,
at an
and
angle.
it's just like, she totally
We'll do a
missed her
close-up of
target.
your targets and see.
They're horrible
I'm not
with
gonna
my
lie.
contacts or without. Like,
Bobby carried us on the shooting. Like, I got significantly better from 2022 to 2023, but that first event, Bobby carried so hard on shooting.
Yeah.
I could do it athletically, but shooting-wise, yeah, he was lights out compared to me. So
Oh, it's okay. I'm not great at shooting
I was
either.
like, my husband's good, but I'm just.
Maybe Chris and I could do a
I
comp.
I'm trying to talk him into it.
Actually,
I
that
really
wouldn't be a bad
am.
combo.
I'm
I
trying
could
to
carry
talk
the
him into
athleticism.
it.
He'll carry me on the shooting.
Yeah, I am. I'm trying to talk him into it.
Okay.
Yeah.
they are fun. I would recommend at least once.
Yeah, like
You can
to
make it a
try
family trip.
Sure.
Yeah, true.
I'm all putting myself in on my part of the family trip.
Yeah, I would. I do. I love to support if we have like everything figured out. Yeah.
I'd be down to check it out.
That's really cool.
Yeah, I love that.
So if you want to
Hashtag
touch stuff, go
goals.
to the tactile game. Now I can't even say it.
Just make sure it's appropriate stuff.
Right, and you
Yeah.
ask for permission first.
Yeah. You have to close your eyes and decipher if it's velvet or not.
Oh man, we're in trouble. We're in trouble. And that's our cue.
Oh my gosh, the dogs.
Yep, that's
Is
our
there
cue.
anything else you want to share about the tactical games?
I mean, the only other thing I would say is if anybody has any other questions or wants to talk about it or look at options, they could always come up to me. I'm still trying to follow them as much as possible, but they have a lot of events. Follow their Instagram. A lot of their athletes also have Instagram. And they have some really good content that comes out.
Nice. And it's just tactile.
Tactical games.
Yeah.
And then from there, you'll kind of see the athletes. Jacob Hepner is also, he's pretty big on Instagram as well. So if you follow him, you'll see a lot of tactical game information too.
I'm going to have to do that.
Let's do
Now that's all going to be on like my TikTok and everything because I looked it up once.
It will. Yeah.
it. And your phone is listening.
It's
It is.
probably already there.
Whoa. Oh, there's a dog.
She's like,
I was like, what's wet on my hands? I think that was a good episode. You guys, we got to find out how Andrew did with coaching and a little bit of background about the tactical games.
Mhm.
Yeah. Thank you guys for this sit down.
Yeah,
Thank you
it was a
guys
lot
for
of fun.
listening. If you guys have an episode that you guys want us to talk about, feel free to message us on TikTok or Instagram at Savagely Scaled or email us at Savagely Scaled, number one, at gmail.com.
That's right.
But yeah, do you guys have anything else that you want to put out?
I'm good. Thanks, guys.
All right. And we're signing off. This is Blake.
Joycey.
And Andrew.
Bye.
Deuces.